Ladies and gentlemen, forgiveness is a profound and transformative practice that has the power to free us from the heavy chains of negative self-judgment and shame. When we carry grudges, whether against ourselves or others, we often trap ourselves in a cycle of painful thoughts and feelings that erode our self-worth. Negative self-judgment is one of the most corrosive forces affecting our mental and emotional health. It convinces us that we are unworthy, flawed, or somehow lesser than others. Shame amplifies this destructive narrative by making us believe that our worth is defined by our mistakes or shortcomings. Forgiveness breaks this vicious cycle by offering a pathway to release these harsh internal criticisms, allowing our true worth to emerge and shine. To understand how forgiveness frees us from negative self-judgment, it's important to first grasp the nature of that judgment. Negative self-judgment often stems from past experiences where we have been criticized, rejected, or punished, whether by others or by our own inner voice. These experiences can create internalized beliefs that tell us we are not good enough, unlovable, or failure. Over time, these beliefs solidify into an identity that governs how we see ourselves and how we behave in the world. This identity, built on shame and judgment, limits our potential and diminishes our happiness. We may avoid challenges, withdraw from relationships, or engage in self-sabotage because deep down we feel undeserving of success or love. Forgiveness interrupts this damaging narrative by inviting us to see ourselves through a lens of compassion rather than condemnation. When we forgive, we acknowledge that we are human, imperfect, vulnerable, and growing. Forgiveness encourages us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would extend to a close friend. This shift in perspective softens the harshness of self-judgment and begins to heal the wounds of shame. Instead of viewing mistakes as proof of unworthiness, we start to see them as opportunities for learning and growth. Forgiveness teaches us that making mistakes is an essential part of the human experience, not a reason to diminish our value. The act of forgiveness also liberates us from the burden of carrying guilt and self-recrimination. Guilt, when it becomes excessive or unresolved, can fuel negative self-judgment by keeping us locked in past actions and their consequences. Forgiveness allows us to acknowledge responsibility without allowing guilt to define us. This distinction is crucial because it frees us from the toxic cycle of punishment and regret. Instead, forgiveness offers a way to make amends where possible and then release the hold that guilt has on our self-perception. This release is a powerful affirmation of our inherent worth, independent of past mistakes. Furthermore, forgiveness helps us dismantle the shame that is often hidden beneath negative self-judgment. Shame is more than feeling bad about something we did. It is the painful belief that there is something fundamentally wrong with who we are. This belief is deeply isolating and can lead to feelings of unworthiness and invisibility. Forgiveness challenges shame by revealing our shared humanity. It reminds us that everyone struggles, everyone falters, and everyone deserves compassion. By embracing forgiveness, we counter shame's isolating effects with connection and acceptance. First with ourselves and then with others. Forgiveness also restores our personal power. When we are consumed by negative self-judgment and shame, we feel powerless and stuck. We may believe that we are at the mercy of our past or others' opinions, which undermines our confidence and sense of agency. Forgiveness shifts this dynamic by placing control back in our hands. Choosing to forgive is an act of courage and self-respect. It declares that we will not be defined or imprisoned by pain and judgment. This reclaiming of power strengthens our self-worth and lays the foundation for building greater confidence. Another way forgiveness boosts self-worth is by fostering self-acceptance. Self-acceptance means embracing all parts of ourselves, the good, the bad, and the messy, with honesty and kindness. Negative self-judgment often arises from rejecting or denying aspects of ourselves that we find unacceptable or painful. Forgiveness invites us to welcome those parts instead of pushing them away. This acceptance is not about complacency or ignoring the need for change. It is about recognizing that our value is not contingent on being perfect. We are worthy simply because we exist. This radical acceptance nurtures a stable and enduring sense of self-worth that is not shaken by external circumstances. Forgiveness also opens the door to healing past wounds that have contributed to low self-esteem. Childhood experiences, trauma, and harmful relationships can leave deep scars that affect how we view ourselves. These scars often manifest as internalized negative messages that feed self-judgment and shame. Forgiveness provides a pathway to process and release these wounds. By forgiving those who hurt us and forgiving ourselves for the ways we may have internalized that pain, we begin to heal at a deep level. This healing process gradually transforms our self-image from one marred by hurt to one marked by resilience and hope. Moreover, forgiveness strengthens our emotional resilience, the capacity to cope with challenges and bounce back from adversity. When we free ourselves from the weight of negative self-judgment, we become less vulnerable to emotional setbacks. Forgiveness helps us cultivate a mindset that views difficulties not as evidence of failure, but as opportunities for growth. This resilience nurtures confidence by proving to ourselves that we can endure hardship and still emerge whole and worthy. The practice of forgiveness also enhances our relationships with others, which in turn supports our self-worth. When we forgive, we reduce the emotional baggage that can strain our interactions. We become more open, compassionate, and understanding, which attracts healthier and more supportive relationships. Positive social connections reinforce our sense of value and belonging, counteracting the isolation that negative self-judgment and shame often produce. Forgiveness creates a ripple effect. By healing ourselves, we improve our ability to connect authentically with others. Forgiveness also promotes authenticity. Negative self-judgment often causes us to hide parts of ourselves out of fear of rejection or judgment. We wear masks to protect our vulnerabilities, which can feel exhausting and alienating. Forgiveness encourages us to embrace our true selves with courage and acceptance. This authenticity is a powerful foundation for self-esteem because it aligns our inner values with our outward expression. Living authentically frees us from the need for external validation and nurtures a deep, internal sense of worth. Additionally, forgiveness fosters hope and optimism about the future. When we release the burdens of shame and judgment, we open ourselves to the possibility of change and improvement. Forgiveness nurtures a belief that we are capable of growth and worthy of happiness. This hopeful outlook motivates us to pursue our goals and dreams with renewed confidence, further enhancing our self-esteem. Forgiveness also aligns with many spiritual and philosophical teachings that emphasize compassion, grace, and redemption. Engaging in forgiveness connects us to these larger principles, providing a sense of purpose and meaning that bolsters our self-worth. This spiritual dimension offers comfort and strength, reminding us that our value transcends our mistakes and flaws. The practice of forgiveness can be cultivated through various means, such as reflection, journaling, meditation, or therapy. These practices help us process emotions, gain insight, and develop the patience necessary for forgiveness. Over time, forgiveness becomes a habit that continuously renews and strengthens our sense of worth. Importantly, forgiveness nurtures self-love, the foundation of self-worth. Self-love involves treating ourselves with kindness, honoring our needs, and valuing our well-being. Forgiveness removes the barriers that shame and negative judgment build against self-love. By forgiving ourselves, we affirm that we deserve care and respect. This affirmation deepens our connection with ourselves and supports a healthy self-esteem. Forgiveness also reduces the internal conflict that drains our emotional energy. When we judge ourselves harshly, we create tension between who we are and who we believe we should be. This inner turmoil can manifest as anxiety, depression, or self-destructive behaviors. Forgiveness brings harmony by resolving this conflict, allowing us to live more peacefully and confidently. Furthermore, forgiveness expands our capacity for empathy and compassion, not only toward others but also toward ourselves. Developing empathy softens the harsh judgments we impose on ourselves and creates space for healing. Compassionate self-understanding strengthens our resilience and nurtures a positive self-concept. Forgiveness also improves our ability to handle criticism and setbacks with grace. When we forgive ourselves and release shame, we become less defensive and more open to constructive feedback. This openness promotes growth and builds confidence in our ability to learn and adapt. Through forgiveness, we reclaim our narrative. Instead of being defined by past mistakes or wounds, we become authors of our own story, one of healing, strength, and self-worth. This empowered narrative fuels motivation and inspires us to live fully and boldly. Finally, forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves. It liberates us from the prison of negative self-judgment and shame, allowing our true worth to shine brightly. This freedom transforms every aspect of our lives, empowering us to walk with confidence, dignity, and a deep sense of value. Forgiving yourself and others is one of the most empowering acts you can undertake on your journey to building stronger confidence and a positive self-image. When you forgive, you dismantle the walls built from past hurts, disappointments, and mistakes that have long stood between you and the authentic, confident self you were meant to be. Forgiveness is not a sign of weakness or passivity. Rather, it is a courageous choice that allows you to reclaim your power, release emotional burdens, and foster a positive identity that fuels personal growth. This process transforms your relationship with yourself and others, enabling you to stand taller, believe deeper in your own worth, and embrace life's challenges with renewed vigor and self-assurance. At its core, forgiveness is an act of liberation. When you hold on to resentment, anger, or regret, whether directed toward yourself or others, you carry unnecessary emotional weight that drains your energy and clouds your perception of yourself. This burden can diminish your confidence, making you question your value and your ability to succeed. Forgiving allows you to set down this weight. It's a conscious decision to stop letting past offenses define your present identity. By doing so, you clear a mental and emotional space that welcomes positive beliefs about yourself. Forgiveness opens the door to seeing yourself as worthy, capable, and deserving of happiness. Forgiveness toward yourself is especially transformative because it addresses the critical inner voice that often undermines confidence. Many people struggle with self-criticism and harsh judgments rooted in their mistakes, failures, or perceived shortcomings. This internal dialogue can be relentless, convincing you that you are not enough or that you don't deserve success or love. When you choose self-forgiveness, you challenge this negative narrative. You begin to replace it with messages of compassion, acceptance, and encouragement. This shift in self-talk is fundamental to building a positive self-image. The more you practice forgiving yourself, the more you cultivate a mindset that nurtures confidence and self-love. Forgiving others also plays a vital role in strengthening your self-confidence. Holding grudges against others keeps you emotionally tethered to pain and injustice, which can spill over into how you view yourself. It can lead to feelings of victimhood, helplessness, and mistrust, emotions that chip away at your belief in your own power and worth. When you forgive others, you break free from this cycle. You reclaim control over your emotional state and refuse to let past hurts dictate your self-esteem. This act of releasing resentment is an affirmation of your strength and autonomy. It says, "I am bigger than my pain, and I choose peace." This choice strengthens your confidence because it demonstrates your ability to rise above adversity and maintain your dignity. Moreover, forgiveness fosters emotional healing, which is essential for personal growth. Emotional wounds, whether caused by others or self-inflicted, can create scars that shape your self-perception. Unhealed pain can manifest as anxiety, self-doubt, or feelings of unworthiness. Forgiveness initiates a healing process by allowing you to acknowledge your pain, understand its impact, and gently let it go. This healing restores your emotional balance and nurtures a more positive and resilient self-image. As wounds heal, you gain clarity and strength which empower you to pursue your goals with greater confidence. The process of forgiveness also enhances your ability to take risks and embrace new opportunities. Confidence often falters when fear of failure or rejection dominates. Past hurts and mistakes can make you hesitant to step outside your comfort zone, worrying that you will be judged or hurt again. Forgiveness reduces these fears by reinforcing the understanding that mistakes and setbacks do not define your worth. It teaches you that you are worthy regardless of outcome, which emboldens you to act despite uncertainty. This newfound courage fuels personal growth as you become more willing to challenge yourself and seize opportunities for development. Forgiveness contributes to building a positive self-image by fostering authenticity. When you forgive, you become more accepting of your imperfections and humanity. You stop hiding parts of yourself out of shame or fear and begin to embrace your true self with honesty and kindness. This authenticity is a cornerstone of healthy self-esteem because it aligns your inner values with your outward actions. Living authentically allows you to express yourself freely and confidently, without the burden of masks or pretenses. This genuine self-expression attracts respect and acceptance from others, further reinforcing your positive self-image. Forgiveness also nurtures humility and self-awareness, which are essential qualities for sustained confidence and growth. Humility helps you recognize that everyone makes mistakes and has flaws, including yourself. This understanding reduces harsh self-judgment and promotes a balanced view of your abilities and limitations. Self-awareness gained through forgiveness allows you to identify areas for improvement without losing sight of your strengths and accomplishments. This balanced perspective supports a realistic and positive self-image that encourages continual learning and self-improvement. The social benefits of forgiveness further enhance your self-confidence. Positive relationships are critical for a healthy self-image. When you forgive, you repair and strengthen connections with others, reducing conflict and fostering trust. Supportive relationships provide validation, encouragement, and a sense of belonging, all of which boost your confidence. Forgiveness also models emotional maturity and strength, inspiring others and attracting positive interactions. The social affirmation you receive in healthy relationships reinforces your belief in your own worth and capabilities. Forgiveness promotes resilience by equipping you with the emotional tools to navigate setbacks and challenges. Confidence is not about never failing, but about recovering from failures with grace and determination. Forgiveness helps you develop this resilience by teaching you to view mistakes as opportunities rather than disasters. It encourages a growth mindset, where challenges are seen as part of the journey towards self-improvement. This perspective strengthens your ability to persevere, adapt, and maintain a positive self-image even during difficult times. Another significant aspect of forgiveness is how it influences your inner dialogue. The stories we tell ourselves about who we are have profound effects on our confidence. When forgiveness becomes part of your narrative, it shifts your internal conversation from one of blame and criticism to one of compassion and encouragement. You begin to affirm your strengths, acknowledge your progress, and recognize your inherent value. This positive internal dialogue builds a strong foundation for lasting self-confidence. Forgiveness also enhances your capacity for self-compassion, a vital ingredient in personal growth. Self-compassion involves treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and patience, especially in moments of struggle. Forgiveness paves the way for this by dissolving the harsh judgments that block self-kindness. As you become more self-compassionate, you create a nurturing internal environment that supports confidence and motivation. The practice of forgiveness can be developed through intentional exercises such as reflective journaling, meditation, or therapeutic conversations. These practices help you explore your emotions, gain insight into your experiences, and cultivate empathy for yourself and others. Over time, forgiveness becomes a natural response, continuously reinforcing your positive self-image and confidence. Forgiveness also encourages gratitude, a powerful emotion that enhances well-being and self-esteem. When you forgive, you shift focus from pain and loss to appreciation and growth. This gratitude extends to yourself for your courage and resilience, strengthening your self-worth. It also opens your heart to recognize the support and kindness available around you, which nurtures a positive outlook and further bolsters confidence. Choosing forgiveness is an act of self-empowerment. It asserts that you are the author of your own life story and have the agency to shape your identity beyond past hurts. This empowerment is deeply affirming and fuels the motivation to pursue personal goals with enthusiasm and belief in your potential. Forgiveness also fosters a sense of peace and emotional stability that underpins confidence. When you release resentment and self-criticism, your emotional landscape becomes calmer and more balanced. This inner peace provides a steady foundation from which you can face life's uncertainties with assurance and composure. Moreover, forgiveness connects you to a broader sense of purpose and meaning. Many spiritual and philosophical traditions highlight forgiveness as a pathway to inner freedom and fulfillment. Embracing forgiveness aligns you with these principles, enhancing your sense of belonging and significance. This connection enriches your self-image and inspires ongoing personal growth. Forgiveness encourages you to live with integrity and alignment between your values and actions. When you forgive, you embody qualities such as courage, compassion, and resilience. Living according to these values reinforces a positive concept and strengthens your confidence. Finally, forgiveness inspires hope, a vital element of personal growth and confidence. Hope motivates you to envision a brighter future and to take steps toward it with determination. Forgiveness clears the emotional obstacles that hinder hope, allowing it to flourish. This hopeful perspective sustains your journey toward a stronger, more confident self. Through the empowering choice to forgive yourself and others, you unlock the potential for profound personal transformation. Forgiveness builds the foundation for a positive self-image and robust self-confidence that fuel your growth, resilience, and fulfillment. It frees you to embrace your true worth, pursue your dreams, and live boldly with the assurance that you are enough just as you are.